Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Quiet on Set. Kev is out sick for a couple of weeks. He has some things he wants to do, so I have Kev here to substitute in for him while we talk about Dark Tower. Kev, would you like to?
I'm pretty sure it's The Dark Tower.
The Dark Tower.
The Dark Tower from Mr. Stephen King.
Either way, my title is going to be: Is this good? I don't think so.
Alright. So quick thing. I'm from FTX CAW Wrestling and FTX Band. I do other stuff on YouTube, but yeah, I've been the editor and I got movies spoiled on me. So
now we're going to spoil movies on other people for a change.
Can we actually how do you usually start this? I edit them, but I actually never really pay attention to them.
Usually what we do is we jump through. I don't really listen to your content. I just edit it.
Yeah, I try to make visual jokes.
Yeah. Basically what we normally do is we go through a bit of fun facts. There's not a lot of fun facts about this movie, just a lot of hard facts. Like, it had 3 directors over the last 10 years.
Yeah,
as they tried to fucking make it out of development hell. And then they got 2 actors, which easily could have been easily 2 of the biggest, most bankable actors in Hollywood at the minute. Like, Matthew McConaughey does something that people are like, yeah. Idris Elba does something yeah. Alright. Anyway.
Can I right, so I read the books.
Yeah.
I love the series.
I think that would give us a better.
Yeah, right. So it's they're great stories. And King
I'd imagine so. There were some elements in that film where I was like, this could be good if it was actually a good film.
Yeah. But no one can kind of agree where the books
it starts and where it ends. Like.
Yeah. So I'm gonna spoil the books because I'm gonna spoil. We're spoiling obviously this entire
movie. The movie's out of cinema now at this stage,
so in the book it's a circle.
The tower is.
No, the whole thing. It's a constant.
It's a cycle.
Yeah, it's a cycle. We'll get onto that later. We're a different movie. So it's basically like it starts off. The man in black fled across the desert, and the gunslinger followed. Yeah. He'll do anything to get him. That's the first line of the book, and also the very last line of the book.
Yeah.
So he's constantly on his way to get to the Dark Tower. He's a gunslinger. He's trying to kill Walter, the man in black.
I think his name is Walter. And I think they made that joke in the movie.
Yeah.
So his name's Walter.
He's like, and then so in the first book he finds Jake Chambers. I actually know the names for most of the characters.
Thank God someone does.
Yeah, because when we get to
I was just gonna call him the little kid, Idris Elba, and Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, because when I get to the other people, like in the other movies we're gonna do, I'm like, big thick girl, the other guy, and then the scary guy.
Yeah.
So Jake Chambers actually Roland sacrifices him to get to the man in black, so he basically kills him technically.
Yupa.
So in the second book, he wakes up on a beach with 3 doors. And then you meet other characters, right? Eddie Dean and Odetta Walker and Odetta, right? She's split personality, black girl, no legs, right? And she's from the 50s. Eddie's
the
from the
description
80s.
For that was brilliant. Black girl, no legs. That's all I need to know.
And she's also has split personality disorder.
Correct.
All right, she's from the 50s. Eddie's from the 80s.
And this is just so the people are listening, going, is it time travel? No, it's not time travel.
No.
It's like the Dark Tower connects all of Stephen King's worlds.
Yeah, so everything's connected.
So all the different time zones are actually just different fucking dimensions because he's a bleeding.
Like he puts himself in the books at one point.
Because he does, it's Stephen King.
Yeah, right. He puts himself in the stories eventually, and then they had to save him from being hit by the car. He puts that into the story. So, but it gets super confusing. The creatures in the movie with the weird faces, in the books, he describes them as similar to Doctor Doom and the Hobgoblin, or the Goblin from Spider-Man.
But we don't have the right to say those characters' names, so they're just rat people.
Yeah. Like, he takes a lot from...
Or they're dog people, or they're skin people.
Yeah.
They're like, we're not going to name them, because then if we name them, then they have to have traits.
Yeah, and suits happen. So there's loads of stuff. He takes a lot from culture. So there's the choo-choo train, and then you realise, all the kids are actually screaming. They're not cheering on it. So it's really deep, right? And he finds Jake again.
Yeah.
So everyone is going.
So after killing him, he finds him in the second book.
In the third book.
Okay.
Right. It gets super confusing, but they're fucking fantastic. Like the world works is the day stays as long as you need it.
Okay.
And the night can be as short as 10 minutes.
I can see why they struggled to find a way to write this story into a film.
Yeah. So originally it's supposed to be a movie, a series, a movie, a series, a movie.
Yeah.
To do all of them.
But that makes sense.
Yeah. That's what Richie, the second director on this, wanted to do.
Ron Howard.
Ron Howard.
Ron Howard.
Richie from Happy Days.
Happy Days.
Yeah.
He wasn't having a lot of happy days trying to make this fucking film.
So how the book ends is he gets to the Dark Tower, everyone dies. Well, Adetta Walker is the only one who actually survives. He lets her go home. He lets her have a life. Everyone who walks with a gunslinger dies. That's the whole thing. Cause
not in this movie.
Yeah. So magic can't be touched because you know why there was these Hail to the Crimson King. The Crimson King is his grandfather who fucked his grandmother, right? So
that's generally how that kind of works. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I'm not his dad's side. That's why magic doesn't work on him, because he's one of the Crimson King's grandson. That's why Walter can't kill him, and Walter works with the Crimson King and doesn't know this. But then you find out his real name is Randall Flagg from one of the Stephen King novels.
Right.
Right. Yeah. It's super fucking confusing. Like there was gaps of 10 years between some of these books, because Stephen King was like at the end of one, was like, I don't know what happened next. It's not calling me, so bye. Like some poor girl, like, all right, I'm dying. I'll never see the end of this book. How to the end? I'll never tell anything. Stephen King wrote back on. I don't know. He's like,
Sauce fan.
he described it as it called to him. That's when he'd write.
Yeah.
So when it calls him, he'd write it. So there's 10 years, 6 years. But at one point, like, there's 2 books year after year. So I think they split a book.
Yeah.
So when Roland finally gets to Dark Tower, it's a huge structure. Roland's ancient. Like, Roland's immortal. He's like 500 years old in the books.
Yeah.
So he finally gets, but he gives up like halfway to the top tower. And you know, he had the guns and he had a knife.
Mm-hmm.
Each time he goes, he gets a different weapon. So at the end of the first run of the Dark Tower, he gets a knife, which will help him in his fight. And then something happens, and he basically, the last line is the first line again, because it's a circle, but it's always slightly different. So that's why people go, it's either halfway through the books, it's the first book, or it's the next cycle of the Dark Tower.
Okay.
So that 10-minute thing just describe where it is in the books is super fucking confusing.
And it doesn't help at all.
It doesn't help at all. And I'm sure people...
And even if you go into the movie without that preface, without knowing any of that shit, still doesn't make any fucking sense.
Like, I love the idea that in one of the books he tells how he became him and his friends the first time they were creating gunslingers, their first mission.
Yeah.
And when Eddie Dean basically goes, you've been talking for hours, but the day hasn't changed. And he's like, the day lasts as long as you need it. And so I was...
That's gas though, because there's a nighttime in the movie.
Yeah, but it is night times as well, but they're really short. So I thought they were going to go... I thought Jake, during the movie, he was like, hey, we just had food, but it's bright again. He like just say a real quick line. Because there's loads of references to the book. Like Pennywise is referenced.
Yeah. The great thing about this movie is it made me really hyped for it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah. And then I was like, oh, please don't.
It's... So yeah, the Crimson King is a big thing. And then in the books, he has to fight his son, and he's the father of the son, but Adetta Walker is the mother. But she doesn't have a demon he fucks a demon, right?
Yeah.
And then that demon was a woman, and then becomes a man and fucks Adetta Walker, and she becomes pregnant.
Alright.
Yeah, right? And it's a spider demon, and he gets to kill.
Alright.
And he's loyal to the Crimson King. It's super confusing. Like, King was on loads of drugs during half of this writing.
You think?
Yeah. That's why at the end of the It is supposed to get... I'm not even finished the It book. I've been on it for months. It's giant. It's supposed to get...
Humongous, yeah.
It's supposed to just get weird. And it's already a fucking weird story.
Yeah, well, this is pretty fucking weird. But yeah, so the Dark Tower is, in essence, that thing we were talking about, that we were actually still talking about, it's just really convoluted. The film... We're going to go away from the books for a bit.
Yeah.
Because I haven't read the books. And it seems like a long fucking chat to have.
7 books.
7 books. And so much confusing twists. But this movie, I think, it had some elements. Like, with Idris Elba's character, like, he had some elements there. If the movie had been about him, I probably would have cared a lot more. Like, that's what I think that this film kind of struggles with. Is by the end of it, like, Walter, you're like... I really actually want to see him succeed because he's the only character that like I didn't even care about him because his acting is so bland, but he's hilarious.
Yeah. How he kills people is great.
It's hilarious because he essentially just walks up to you and just goes, "Yeah, don't breathe," and he just like, and then he just claps.
Right. People couldn't see what you did there.
Yeah.
Hand motion.
I stopped breathing and then I spazzed.
That was great when you had your guest on last time.
Yeah, it's like for the people that can't see. For all of the people, everybody listening right now. I'm doing lots of hand motions. You cannot see. Really wish we had that camera set up. But yeah, so like, I feel like they mixed matched the actors and the characters. Like I'm not saying that the black fella should have been the Man in Black. Not saying that at all. It's just I think that Matthew McConaughey has more charisma than Idris Elba. Like Idris Elba is very charismatic as well, but Matthew McConaughey is Mr. Charisma. Like he's silky smooth. He can say whatever the fuck. And the character they gave him was the monotone, fucking unfeeling guy.
Yeah. Cliche bad guy. Right, I just want to go back to the books one more time. Alright? Because in loads of books he described Roland differently.
Yeah.
So in the second book, a cop runs into him in the second book, right? And it isn't until Terminator comes out that he's watching Terminator with his son. He jumps out of his seat and goes, "That's him!" So he describes that
the copper as
he basically sees Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's huge. But then later on, he describes him as a skinny guy, a really lanky, skinny white guy.
Listen, everything's cycle.
And then he describes him as like Clint Eastwood. So he can't even fucking make his mind up. Yeah. So he's a big guy who's skinny.
Who does things.
Yeah, who does things.
Who has some grit, smokes cigars, says, "Do you feel lucky, punk?"
And he constantly says in the books, "You forgot the face of your father." Constantly.
Well, he seems to have forgotten the face of his fucking character, so...
he's not a great character in the books either. He's really like one
in the first fucking book, he kills a child for him.
Well, he lets him die. But like he's one dimension. His whole thing in the books is getting the Dark Tower.
Yeah.
These things
that makes sense because that's what it's about.
Yeah, that's his whole thing. Like he'll let anyone die.
Yeah.
And like there's a big huge race thing in it because Della Walker's black and she's constantly calling him white cracker, white boy. Use white boys sucking each other's candles while sleeping.
Well, glad they didn't do that. That PG-13 would have went straight to R.
Because loads of people were annoyed when they picked him. He's a grand actor.
Yeah, Idris Elba's whopper.
Yeah, but they're like, oh, we can't have that dynamic of that because it was so crucial to the books.
You see, like people could argue that, and I'd understand their arguments. Like it's a key point that he's white and she's black, but at the same time, if they don't want to focus on that, they want to do something different. Like if they want, because they seem to make Idris Elba's character immediately different because he's immediately more heroic than the character you just described. He doesn't kill that kid. He saves him rather than killing him at the end. So it's kind of they're probably going down because like they could have easily made this a dark as fuck film, gotten an R rating, and just went balls to the wall.
They should have. They really should have.
They should have, but
like it's 12, wasn't it?
It was 12, yeah. I think they were trying to draw in a younger audience to get that blockbuster dollar bills, but they missed the mark because it's a property that's it's essentially an original property because nobody had heard of it. I had not heard of it until they announced that Idris Elba was going to be in it, and people were going nuts that he was black, and I was like, who cares?
It's weird because King loves these books, but he rarely talks about them, and each book is connected to the Dark Tower one way or another by a name, a place, but he never does interviews about the Dark Tower. He's never gone, let's talk about the Dark Tower. He usually ignores it.
That's bizarre. And then I don't think he had much involvement in this. Like with It that came out today, he said it was terrifying, but I don't remember him saying anything about Dark Tower when it came out. I don't think he said anything at all.
He promoted it, but he never went, "Oh, this is great."
Yeah, I think he knew himself that was kind of fucked from the get go. Like not because it's been in development hell for 10 years. Like I'd say he's seen that and just went KO. Like especially like with Valerian, that was also been in the making for a good decade now as well. And that
really
was shocking.
We'll get onto that eventually.
Did we ever talk? I don't think I ever talked about Valerian in a podcast, but my god, did I fucking hate that film. Anyway,
right.
Back to the Dark Tower.
The Dark Tower. So it opens with, how the fuck does that mean? I saw it twice.
I've
I was ruined on me
it
twice.
once and a half. I can't remember. Does it open with the kid? And he's like,
Oh, the all the kids on the playground, and
and then the cow, yeah.
he tortures them to destroy the tower.
You see, you say torture, but they seemed like they were having a grand old time, and until they weren't on the screen anymore. Like, what's that noise? It's all of the kids screaming. Okay.
And they linked the whole Shining thing. Another
The
thing.
Shine, yeah.
But I don't think.
I don't think it links because in The Shining, Jack Nicholson doesn't have telepathic powers. He's just a fucking nutjob.
Yeah, but Jake didn't have telepathic powers.
He did. That was the whole point. Like at the end when fucking he's like, you forget the face of your father. 2 Roland in his head. That's a telepathic power.
Oh yeah.
And that was the whole point. That's why the Man in Black was like, oh, you're like me. And he was like, fucking put me in the chair.
If you're like me, I want to take it down and destroy the universe, but I want to see
I want to live, yeah. I want to rule. I don't want to fucking die.
But yeah, like, so, a 19 is really heavy in all his books.
19. The number 19.
Yeah. Anytime you see any numbers, it's basically you can get to 19 somehow.
Like they add up to 19.
Yeah. Or it's distract, or you had to do a real complicated number. Maths just to get 19, but it always got to 19.
Alright, cool.
Even when it's like, it's impossible to get 19, like, yeah, we do it this way, that way, this way, this and this and this and that, you get 19.
So basically, Stephen King is a massive fan of Countdown.
Yeah. He watches that, and when a 19 comes on, got it!
I know this. I've done this before. Oh, fuck's sake.
For our Australian fans, Countdown in Australia is called Letters and Numbers.
Is it?
Yeah, or Words and Numbers.
Why'd they just call it Countdown?
I don't know.
Like, the most important part about, like, letters and numbers are the building blocks of that show. But the main point is that there's a countdown.
Yeah. And it's super loud.
Yeah. Oh, what a fucking... Oh, never mind. Cultural differences aside.
Right. So, yeah, the movie has some either great acting or shit acting. Like, there's some scenes when they get to the first village and, like, where's your best seer? Or healer, or whatever the fuck they're looking for, and she's just there. Me!
Hey,
That's me. I'm like, okay. You're not gonna have like, oh, she's just down here, let's go get her?
Yeah. That's just like
Lazy.
It's like conservative screenwriting, because like they could go, oh, we could take them into another setting, and then we could like dot the set with like things that tell you about the character, or we could just like, it's a really small village, there she is. Or there was parts in it where Matthew McConaughey looked like he was given, like, I don't want to say he phoned in most of the role, but like there was some parts where he was just like, where you seen he was trying to act, and for whatever reason they decided to take the worst take rather than the best take, or the director was like, no, he has to be more monotone, he has to be more, like, I think if Matthew McConaughey could have put a bit of his flair into it, like a charismatic Man in Black probably would have been scarier than Stop Breathing.
Or kill each other.
Yeah.
Oh, what was up with the kid? Be bad or something?
Yeah, it was basically, she was being like, she's having a good time with her ma, and she's being real cute and all, and he's basically like, don't do that, do the opposite. So she started like hitting her ma and like having a tantrum. Yeah. Like, his powers are cool.
They are, but they didn't go into it.
Yeah, they didn't go into it. They didn't make it cool. Like,
that's always my problem with anyone with magic powers in books. They're like, oh, I only have this amount. Oh, I can only do these spells, but I need this book.
Yeah.
Oh, I need all this stuff.
Well, to be fair, magic needs to have rules that you can understand, so that you believe it.
Like, but basically, it seemed like he was just in psychology.
Yeah.
Stop thinking. Stop thinking.
Stop thinking. Oh.
Actually, when I saw the movie,
it's basically, I was like, imagine if it was Tim Roth. It was his character from, what was it, Lie to Me? He was just like, stop thinking.
What?
Wake up.
Like, when I saw it the second time, and it got ruined for me, but like this family got kicked out of 16's movie.
Yep.
And there were 2 rows.
Yeah, that seemed to happen like that entire week. Is like, get out, Annabelle. Go into the doctor.
Yeah. And this kid said the best line ever. I can't hear that fast. I was laughing inside. Go, oh my god! I got my phone out and actually wrote it down. Can't hear
It was
that
like
fast.
it's like that line in Wedding Crashers. It's like you shut your mouth when you're looking at me or something. God.
What do you think of Vince Vaughn as an actual actor?
As an actor.
Yeah. Like, cause
See, I seen him in. What did I see him in?
I love him in Interstellar, but that's kind of it for me.
Is he in Interstellar?
He's the main guy.
Vince Vaughn? Do you mean
No,
Michael?
sorry, Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, he's the main guy. He's in loads. He is.
I hate Vince Vaughn as well. But I won't
He's
get
in
into
Dallas
that.
Fire Club.
I won't get into how much I hate Vince Vaughn.
I like Vince Vaughn as a comedy actor, not so much as a serious actor. But I think he has the talent to be a serious actor. He just keeps getting serious roles because people are like, oh, he's the funny guy.
Yeah, but Vince Vaughn also because of Family Guy. It's like, watch him. He always does the same thing. He hates you at the beginning of it. In the middle, he's like, and by the end, he loves you. He was in one scene in Anchorman 2, or Anchorman, one scene, and he hated him at the beginning of the scene, and by the end, he was like, I love you. It's like, this is you.
I love you, Ron Burgundy.
This is you in a fucking nutshell, Vince Vaughn. You're shit.
Yeah, but it works.
Fred Claus was a terrible movie. No, Fred Claus is.
Fred Claus, much like every Christmas movie, it does the exact same thing. Guy doesn't like Christmas. Guy is forced to do Christmas thing. Guy likes Christmas.
Yeah.
That's the Christmas movie. That's just how it works.
I hated that movie so much. I was in school when that was out, and like, alright, it's either big gangster movie, or Fred Claus. I was like, oh, Daddy, we're going, and like, oh, we're going to see Gangster. Oh, my husband saw it last night. We're going to see Fred Claus. Like,
I'm sorry, what? Tell him to go home then.
and then we had to write, we had to write a formal essay in it, and
About Fred Claus.
About Fred Claus.
I can see why you don't like Fred Claus now.
Yeah, and then she was like, oh yeah, but what did you think about it? I was like,
It's a Christmas movie.
but
You don't need to think about it.
You told me to write formally about it. I can't put my opinion on it. That's informal.
No, if you argue it, it'd be fun.
But she was just
Listen,
like,
we're getting off topic.
I know. But okay,
What do I think of Matthew McConaughey?
yeah, what you think?
I think I watched before we went to see Dark Tower, like the day of we went to go see Dark Tower. I watched his interview spot on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert, and the man is he just oozes charisma, and he's just so slick. Like, I'd love to meet Matthew McConaughey.
I love a punch, maybe.
Nah, for this movie maybe, but like he does some good. Like, his acting is usually pretty good. Like, I loved him in Magic Mike. I thought he was gas in Magic Mike.
I haven't seen him.
Oh, it's funny. Interstellar, he was good in that. I still haven't seen Dallas Buyers Club.
Have you done your review on Dunkirk yet?
Oh no, I couldn't do one
Why?
because Kev really liked it, and then I was on it kind of like, it's alright.
I didn't mind it, but like, it's really hard for me. Usually, because without this, doing like, oh, we had to see the movie, do these podcasts, like, Grant, do you want to be part of the podcast? Because you were like, hey, Kev's out, you want to be in? I'm like, oh fuck, we're not seeing movies now more often. Because I usually either watch a movie and have no opinion on it. Because it's either like, if it's really good, I'll tell people. If I don't, if it's just like, I won't tell anyone.
Yeah.
So like,
that's how I felt about Dunkirk. It was just alright. It wasn't like
people.
I appreciated the filmmaking prowess it took to make the film.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It didn't produce a good enough film in my opinion.
They shouldn't like promote it as a war film.
They should have promoted it more as a fucking tourism bleeding advertisement, because that's what I felt like. I was like, I really actually wouldn't mind fucking visiting Dunkirk. It looked really nice this time of year.
Bullets flying. They just basically, it's a bunch of lads trying to get home.
Yeah.
And like, because I watched it, and then I realized, like, eventually, oh my god, Christopher Nolan. I knew Christopher Nolan could not do a straight movie. He couldn't do
he couldn't just make a film. Yeah.
He did everyone's point of view, which I really appreciate, because then the next time I'm gonna watch it, I'm like, oh, the old lad and the two boys, they're only probably traveling for about an hour or two.
It's like a day. I think they're a day, and then.
But it never gets to a night scene, so I reckon it's probably a few hours, right?
A few hours back.
Yeah, and the lads they've been there a few days, but the guy on the plane is probably only, you know how long he's been flying for. He's like, because they tell you he's been flying like 2 hours at the beginning, so you only have 2 hours left to fill, because that's how they tell you how long he's flying for.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I just felt when I was watching it, I really appreciate Christopher Nolan. I think he's a good director.
I love him. He's personally one of my favorite.
But like every single flying scene, I just felt it just usually when I like a director, and they're like, "Oh, do you remember when I did this in that other film? You really liked that." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm glad you did it again, but different." But this time, it felt like, you know the bit in Interstellar where you see the outside of the ship.
Mm.
That's what it felt like. It just felt like he was making more of those shots, but on a fucking Jeff. What do you call it? Jetfires? Spitfires.
Jetfires.
Jetfires. Transform and roll out. But yeah, it just felt like he was like, what can I ask the British Army to do, and what can I get away with doing? Because like the bit where someone was like, you got an IMAX camera on a Spitfire, I'm like, yeah, but that's a lot of money to fucking risk on a fucking plane in the middle of the ocean, where he could have just CGI'd it a bit.
Where they keep track of the fuel with chalkboards.
That was gas. But like,
but he doesn't. I appreciate that he rarely uses CGI. Now Interstellar had to be CGI
because it's in space.
But like Batman, he crashes that plane at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I love practical effects.
Don't get me wrong, I love practical effects, but it seems in this film that the movie didn't benefit from it. Like, when I was watching the film, I knew every single behind the scenes. I knew that plane was real, that boat was really on the water, that we're really going. And it didn't enhance my viewing. It just made me think, what's the point of this movie? Like, the story of Dunkirk is one of such absolutely fantastic hope, and that film, it didn't inspire me until the very, very end, where Kenneth Branagh goes, no, I'm staying for the French. That was the only point of the movie where I was like,
it was a nice line.
That's a nice line. It makes me feel hopeful.
Someone said I was like him to
Kenneth
work with.
Branagh?
Yeah. I'm like him to work for. Like, that's...
Did they also work for Kenneth Branagh?
No, they basically said...
I see him in Iron Man. I thought he was alright. Like,
you're like that captain from... who won't let... Like, I was like... Thanks. And then I watch it, I'm like... I'm not that fucking heartless. I would stay for the French.
I'd stay for the French. Nah, he's not heartless though. Like the French troops aren't as important to England as the English troops. Like, if the French troops all died, if they all survived, it doesn't make a difference. Like, if they all survived but all the English troops died, the English army can't tell the French army what to do. Like, and then the French government was dissolved after Hitler invaded, so they'd have they'd be mercenaries essentially.
Alright, so
the Dark Tower.
Do you have any interesting facts about the Dark Tower?
I have the fucking trivia page open.
Alright, let's hear some trivia.
You just said about the Series of 8 books thing, so we're gonna skip that.
Alright. At least that was only 4 lines. Mine went on for 10 minutes.
But to be fair, if you were to expand slightly on each part, it just tells you the names of the books, and if you essentially you just gave us a rundown of each, with minor references to It, The Mist, and The Shining. Now, come here to me. Does that mean that the clown in It is a creature from Roland's world?
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Alright, cool.
Does these, you know, where they were showing these light beams in the movie? At the end of, in the book, he's trying to show the beams, and outside each beam is a creature, and there's a creature in the walls as well. So they run into this giant bear they kill, and they realize they just killed one of the beams, and the It creature is one of the beams. Okay. So when he dies in the book, right? And when he dies in the book, that one of the beams goes.
Alright. Happy days.
Right. I'm not giving away because it was originally made back in 1991. So shut the fuck up. And the book came out in the 80s.
I don't like people like I remember when the third Hobbit movie was coming out, and I was talking about it. I was like, don't ruin it. I was like, man, the book has been out for 50 years. Yeah. If you don't know what happens in the end, that's pretty much your fault.
And it's based on one page from the book.
Yeah, right. It was originally adapted to film by J.J. Abrams following his success with Lost, the TV show. After Abrams backed out, though, Ron Howard became attached to the project.
I was really looking forward to that.
Until the rights went to the chap that directed it, Arcel Nicolaj.
What else did he do? What's his noteworthy piece?
Looks like it's the girl with the dragon tattoo.
The American or the original?
It looks like the American. Oh no, it could be actually the original. I think I was looking at this. 2009. That's probably the American one. Depends on who's in it. Daniel Craig. No, that's the original.
Oh wow!
He's the director of the original Girl with the Dragon Tattoo and couldn't direct a fucking major Hollywood blockbuster for fucking dinner. Like the talent that's attached to this, like fucking Matthew McConaughey and Idris Elba are A1. They're like the top tier.
It's fucking
critics, like.
red hot right now.
And he couldn't even make a decent, it's essentially a swords and sandals epic magic adventure with guns. That's it. That's what it is. And he couldn't even, like, if he had just done that, it would have been fine. But because he kept trying to dot it with like Stephen King references, that it just kind of, I felt it pulled it down a bit.
I love the references, but I was looking at some reference going, no one will get this fucking reference.
Yeah.
Like, roses are huge in the book, but they're never really prominent in the fucking movie at all.
No.
But he has, when they go at the end of the movie, back into the fucking, his world, there's a big rose on the thing. Because in the movie and the books, that rose is Roland's world.
Oh, okay.
And they had to protect it. That's one of the subplots, they had to protect that rose. So they start a business to protect that rose.
I'm so glad I've not read this book series.
It's well, I reread the second book because it's so good.
Oh. What's this? Early publicity still revealed Easter eggs from Stephen King fans, including the shop sign for Barlow and Starkers. Barlow is the vampiric villain in Salem's Law, with Starker being his assistant.
I didn't get that reference. It's
Yeah,
a good
I know.
book.
Yeah, you should fucking watch the film again. So
Yeah. I've seen it twice, and it got ruined on me twice.
And then Nicholas Hamilton is in it. He's the bully in Stephen King's It. He's the main bully.
And he's in this one.
And he's in Dark Tower as well. I think he's also the bully. Lucas Hansen, I think he's the bully in. Like, he's just a bit of a prick, and I think they're just like, yeah, just whack into
When
it.
we get to it, I'm actually looking forward to talking about it.
Yeah, me too.
For the fact that one of the bullies is like 6 foot. He's like 7'2".
He's also the big brother in fucking Dark Tower. Listen, we'll talk about that when we get to it. We're still on Dark Tower at the minute.
How long has this been so far?
So far we have it's like 30 minutes. We'll keep.
Yeah, a few minutes. We'll actually talk about the movie at some point.
Yeah, eventually. Tom Hardy was considered for the Man in Black, which I think.
Oh, that would have been great.
No, I don't think so.
No, I think
I don't think Tom Hardy can act.
I think he would have been great if he got really skinny for Roland.
Oh, I don't know.
Because Roland, the guy who played Roland in the movie, who I just can't say his name.
Idris Elba?
Yeah, Elba.
yeah, Elba. Elba.
He's too manly for Roland, I think. He's too big and strong.
Idris Elba's tough guy material.
That's why everyone, like, my brother heard Matthew McConaughey was doing. He's like, oh, he's going to make a great Roland. I was like, no, he's the Man in Black. And he's like, sorry,
that's what I'm
what?
saying. Like, he would have done a good job, I think.
Also in the second book, Roland loses his first 2 shooting fingers on his right hand, so he has to get people to help him. So he only shoots with one hand.
Lovely.
And that's a big kind of thing.
Is he to just dick all over that poor chap?
He has a horrible life.
Yeah.
He really does. Everyone he loves dies.
Beast.
Like, he loves most of the characters by the second book. He was like, I love you. I know we only know each other about 5 days, but I love you, man. Any other interesting facts?
I think no, most of them are a bit too chunky to be
interesting.
Yeah.
Alright, so Rotten Tomato gave it, what was it, 16?
16? Oh yeah, it was 16% or something. I don't know. See, for me, there were some elements there where it's like, oh yeah, please, come on, just focus on these things and make it good. Like, if they had a really hell's for leather given Matthew McConaughey and just went, do what you want, have a bit of crack, I'd say he would have been a fucking menacing prick. Because I think the director just kind of reined him in a bit, so he's just like, alright, I'll just phone this in. How
much did it actually make box office?
I don't think you want to know, Kev.
Like, it cost...
Oh, that's rough. $101.4 million with a budget of $60 million. And more than likely...
Sequel money. That's sequel money.
It's not sequel money because you have to think how heavily advertised the Dark Tower was. It easily would have doubled its budget, so it probably made a loss of $20 million.
What is a
which I'm delighted about because it really goes, Nicolaj, fuck off back to those indie films. Make those.
That you're actually good at.
You're only good at making them. Fucking get away from blockbusters. Get away from Stephen King.
But like Stephen King is ridiculously hard to adapt.
Well, and don't get me wrong. I'd say it was a monumental. The producer is probably like fucking.
No, was he a producer on a king?
I wouldn't say so. Produced by no, Ron Howard was though.
For fuck's sake, Ron.
Come
Can't
on,
you
Ron.
watch that and go, yeah, that's grand. I did Beautiful Man. I got a few Oscars. Yeah, it's fucking fantastic.
To be fair, at this stage, I think the studio was like either you release it now or you don't release it at all.
Or it's probably coming super close to King just gets the rights again.
Yeah, that too as well.
Like, that's why they did Terminator Genesis.
Because they didn't want to get Terminator back.
Yeah, because but they're like, oh, we had to do 3 sequels to keep it in, and then after the first one, the Genesis didn't do that well.
I feel really bad for Emilia Clarke because she's like one of the biggest, most bankable television stars probably in history, other than like the chap that plays Jon Snow and Lena Headey who plays Cersei Lannister. Like they're the names, they're the guys. Like, and every time she seems to be in anything that's not Game of Thrones, like yeah, just shit.
Yeah, but what about Me Before You?
Me Before You is different because like it's not hard to be good in those
I think
movies.
she's amazing. I bet you when she does a comedy movie, she'd be brilliant at it.
I think she'd be a good.
She acts with her eyebrows.
Yeah.
And in Game of Thrones, she has to be straight all the time. She's not a great actor in Game of Thrones.
She does.
When
like,
she has banter with people, she's great.
Yeah, I think like I don't know. I think she's in. I think she's in also Pixels. I think she's in that. Oh no, I know Dinklage is in that. Anyway, we're getting miles off topic.
They're both really strong.
Pixels and Before You or
no, literally, like she's not that far from like Ari and
Arya and Thing, the same height, yeah,
and like
so it's gonna be gas in the next season.
Yeah, so they're really fucking close together. They're just like 5-0 or 4-0.
That's gas.
All right, so how do you usually end these actually?
Usually we just kind of rate them, and that's what I was trying to get at. Where I was like, there was some good parts in it, and I think it would have been like there were some parts where I was like, come on, just be good, just come on, just make me stop not liking this. Like I think I said this in previous podcasts. This is a great year for child actors. Like with Stranger Things, all of the fucking actors.
Seemed like Stranger Things.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was watching it, and I was watching Double Toasted this morning. I was watching their review as well, and they were like, "Yeah, no, yes, Stranger Things did this better." And I don't think so. Like the chemistry, like anyway, we'll talk about it in a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is a great year for kid actors. You have Stranger Things has an ensemble cast of kid actors that people adore.
And they're actually kids.
And they're actually kids. And then you have Logan with the X-23 girl who is Whopper. She's incredible.
Oh, she in that? Logan Lucky?
No,
Logan. Actual Logan. People have been calling him going, Logan?
Yeah.
Like, Logan Lucky?
Do you mean a different movie? Yeah, and then you have there's another film has another kid. They're just either Planet of the Apes has a kid in it and she's pretty good. Right. And I don't know whether directors have just learned the best possible ways to direct children, or the caliber of child acting has just increased tenfold.
Or it's also been a stupidly difficult year for Hollywood this year, supposedly.
Fair.
But it's like, I heard at one point they're making as much money as they did in 1920. But that doesn't sound
bad because inflation needs to come into effect, and the inflation in 1920 would still probably be higher money wise. Because like in 1920, everybody went to the cinema. Like there was no TV, so if you wanted to know what the news was, you had to go to the cinema.
But like, I've never in my entire life gone, I'm off for a week. Do you want to go see a movie? Never. Maybe when I was younger, but now I only go because I kind of have to go and see movies now for this.
Yeah. No, I always kind of, that looks really good. I really want to see it now. I don't want to see it in 3. But the problem is nowadays,
you just have to wait 3 months and it's online.
Not even that. It's just like the home video releases are. It's out of cinema in a week later. It's on fucking DVD. Like, do you know what I mean?
WWE studios do that. They release the movie and release it on DVD. Like,
That's
they'll have a week.
Though.
They'll have a week in the cinema, maybe. Yeah. Even if they have a fucking release, it'll be on DVD straight away.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
So I think Dark Tower. I think Patrick said it best. I think he said if a movie is a 5, it's wasn't terrible. It wasn't good enough for me to think. Oh, I'd watch it again. I'd watch it a few times. It's a 5. It's a nothing. I'm glad that I seen it so that I could say that I seen it.
Mm.
But if I hadn't have seen it, it wouldn't have bothered me at all. Like so.
Do you think it's gonna get any special effects awards or makeup effects?
Nah, absolutely not. No, not a fucking chance.
I'm gonna go.
I'd say they probably push for it to try and get because the only reason you'd push for Oscars for a shit film is to people go, oh, I won an Oscar, I'll buy it on DVD.
Or
That's
just
reason.
having it on the box Oscar.
Yeah.
Or Oscar nominated.
That's the only reason films push to get awards is so that they can put it on the box and get more sales. That's why Suicide Squad won the Oscar for special effects. Cause
They did, and it was against loads of actually
really, really good fucking movies like Star Trek and Guardians and stuff. Anyway, fuck the Oscars.
Alright, so will I give it a rating then?
Yeah, please do.
I'll give it 6.
6. So
Yeah.
you obviously have watched it a second time.
Yeah, I saw it twice, and there was guests or people on the screen that ruined it twice for me. And the second time, I'm pretty sure the guy was getting a blowjob.
Leo. That's always what you want in the cinema.
So
Right, so we're coming up to the end of this week, so thank you all for listening. Hit a like and a subscribe if you feel like it. And we'll see you next week.
can I end it? Can I actually end it with my send off?
Of course.
Till next time, take care. Goodbye.
See ya!